Have you ever been so desperate to save face that you invited someone to an event you dreaded only to realize fate had been waiting for that very moment to change your life forever? That's exactly what happened when she asked the single dad she barely knew to be her broken bar to her ex's wedding. What she discovered that night brought her to tears in front of everyone, and it was a moment she would never forget. Samantha James never thought she'd be the kind of woman to dread an invitation. Once upon a time, she had imagined walking down the aisle with her high school sweetheart, Andrew. They had been together for years, building dreams of a future together, travel plans, a house they wanted to buy, even names for the kids they thought they'd have. But those dreams crumbled when Andrew broke her heart, leaving her for someone else. And now, years later, the wedding invitation in her hand felt like a cruel joke. She told herself she didn't care, but deep down, she couldn't escape the ache of betrayal. Her friends tried to encourage her not to go, but Samantha was stubborn. "I'll go," she said firmly, "and I'll walk in there looking like I'm happier than I've ever been. He won't get the satisfaction of thinking he broke me." But there was one problem: she couldn't go alone. Walking into Andrew's wedding by herself felt like admitting defeat. That's when fate intervened. It happened at a local coffee shop. Samantha was sitting by the window, nervously scrolling through her phone, when a little boy at the next table spilled his hot chocolate all over the floor. Flustered, the boy's father rushed to clean up, apologizing profusely to the barista. Samantha offered a napkin with a kind smile, and that's how she met Daniel Cartera, a single dad doing his best to raise his 7-year-old son, Noah. Their conversation was brief but warm. He had kind eyes, the kind that made you want to trust him. She couldn't explain why, but before she knew it, Samantha blurted out a crazy idea. "Would you, a broken bar, maybe be my date to a wedding?" Daniel blinked, caught off guard. "A wedding?" he asked. Samantha nodded, rushing to explain. "It's my ex's wedding. I don't want to go alone." "You don't have to forget I asked. It's ridiculous." But Daniel just smiled. "You helped me just now. Maybe I can return the favor. If you need backup, I'll be there." And so, 2 weeks later, Samantha found herself in front of the mirror, adjusting the straps of her emerald dress. She looked stunning, but her heart pounded with nerves. Daniel arrived right on time, dressed in a classic black suit, holding a small bouquet of lilies. "For you," he said simply. For the first time, Samantha felt like she could breathe. The moment they stepped into the lavish wedding hall, all eyes turned. Samantha could feel the whispers of people who knew her past with Andrew, people who wondered why she was there. But Daniel's presence beside her was steady, grounding. He carried himself with quiet confidence, and every time she felt her hands shake, he gave her a reassuring squeeze. When Andrew finally spotted her across the room, his expression faltered. For a moment, Samantha swore she saw regret in his eyes, but she quickly lifted her chin and leaned slightly closer to Daniel, who whispered, "You're doing great." Throughout the evening, Daniel played the part of the perfect date. He laughed at her stories, danced with her under the twinkling lights, and treated her like she was the only woman in the world. Guests began to notice not her ex's betrayal, not her loneliness, but the way she shone when Daniel was near. Then came the part Samantha dreaded most, the speeches. As Andrew stood with his bride, toasting to new beginnings, Samantha's chest tightened. She wanted to run, to escape the painful reminder of what she'd lost. But before she could slip away, Daniel gently pulled her aside. His voice was low, sincere. "You know, I don't think you came here just to prove something to your ex. I think you came here to see for yourself that you deserve better, and you do. Much better." Tears stung Samantha's eyes. Nobody had ever spoken to her like that, not even Andrew during the years they'd been together. In that moment, she realized something: as she wasn't broken, she wasn't less, she was stronger than she had ever been. And Daniel saw that strength even when she couldn't. The night ended with a slow dance. As the music played softly, Samantha finally let her tears fall, not from sadness but from release. She whispered, "Thank you, Daniela Broken Bar. I don't know what I would have done without you tonight." He smiled, holding her a little closer. "You don't need anyone to prove your worth, Samantha. Bow to Broken Bar if you ever let me. I'd like to remind you every day." The wedding she had dreaded became the night she discovered hope again. And though she walked in determined to show her ex what he lost, She walked out with something far greater, a chance at love, built not on the shaky promises of the past, but on the steady, patient kindness of a man who knew the value of loyalty, of family, and of second chances. By the end of the night, Samantha wasn't the woman who had been left behind. She was the woman who finally realized her worth, and the tears she shed were the first steps toward a brand new beginning. Would you like me to expand this further into more scenes and dialogue so it stretches perfectly for a full 100-minute pacing with detailed emotional beats? Or should I keep it in this long flow narrative style?